put that right on top. Isn't that gorgeous? Lovely. So we'll serve these as appetizers. Now we're gonna make some easy artichoke feta bruschetta. And it's I love to make all different kinds of bruschetta. I make tomato basil, I made kind of a cream cheese and salmon bruschetta with capers and tomatoes, but this is actually one of my very, very favorite. I served it at a party recently and they just went like that. The flavors are great. So let me show you first how to make it. What I've got here is just a nice loaf of thin bread, and I just buy them, and you can keep in your freezer frozen, and then just heat it up in the oven. Bake it at about 350 for about 20 minutes, and you'll have this nice baked fresh bread. So what we're going to do is I've got a nice bread knife here, and I'm just going to cut this into some fairly thin pieces. And that's one thing you want to keep in mind when you're making bruschetta, is because it's one of those things that it's kind of like hard to eat. You know, do I eat this in one bite? Do I eat this in 2 bites? So you want to try to be nice to your guests and make some nice bite-sized pieces. So what you're going to do, and I've already done that here, is I've made these nice bite-sized pieces. I'll just set that right there for now. And what I did, and just to save time, we're not going to go through the whole thing, but what I did is I just placed each of these on here like that, sprinkled it with some olive oil, just used a little spoon and just did some olive oil on that just to keep the bread nice and moist, and then toasted the bread so it is a little firmer and will actually hold up when your guests pick it up, whereas if it was like this, it would be a lot harder to eat. So you're just going to bake these in the oven at about 350 for, you know, just until they get nice and brown. Probably about 5 minutes is all you need to do. So we've got these all ready to go, and I'm just going to go straight and use those. But this is how I got here, so you know. Now this, like I said, is feta marinated artichoke bruschetta. So first thing we're going to use is feta cheese. And you can get the crumbled kind or the block kind in your goal, and I've actually left it out a little bit so it's kind of room temperature and easier to spread. And you're just going to spread that feta right on there. And feta is just a great salty flavor. I love it. And like that. Then the next step, so easy. We'll go ahead and put that on there. Ooh, I already opened this, but there we go. Okay, and then we're gonna get these marinated artichoke hearts, and these comes in halves and quarters, and a great way to buy them, I'll tell you, is at one of your, you know, bulk discount stores. You can buy a huge jar if you're having a party. So then we're just gonna set that artichoke heart right on there, on top of the feta, and it's already marinated, so you don't need to worry about adding any salt or pepper or any spices or like that. And you know what? That's it. So it really is that easy. I'll make a couple more just to kind of, so you can get a feel for what they look like. And then show you one additional garnish that kind of dresses it up a little bit. So we've got our feta spread on there, and add another artichoke like that. Do a couple more. These look great. Now it's time to cook the crab cakes. And again, this is something to be done right before your guests arrive, because they really don't take long to cook. It's just right here on the stove. I'm using a nice large skillet so I can cook several at a time. And I put some olive oil down on the bottom, probably about 4 to 5 tablespoons. Just sprinkle some in to cover the bottom of the pan, because you want to make sure you don't want your crab cakes to stick. Then I've got my crab cakes out of the freezer, and they're nice and hard. As you can see, they're almost even close to frozen, which I tend to like. I think it works well. Now this fire, I've been heating this oil. It feels like it's about ready. So we'll go ahead and just add those right into the oil. Yep, you can tell it's hot when it's splattering like that, but that's just fine. You don't want to overload your pan, because you have to be able to, you know, flip them with the spatula. So I'm just going to start with that many. I'll leave these over here on the side. And while we are doing that, I'm going to throw together a quick garnish that I like to